Would you like to 10x your productivity and stop feeling so overworked and overwhelmed? Welcome to the Extreme Productivity Podcast with New York Times bestselling author and Inc. 500 entrepreneur, Kevin Kruse.
Hello, everyone. Kevin Kruse here, coming to you from just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, helping you with your time management. Now, I hate that term because this is really not about managing time, but increasing productivity. Now, in the last episode, we talked about time management and productivity advice for a career-minded new mom, really for all working parents. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about how you can manage distractions while working from home. But first, I want to remind you, I'm sure you know, there are no ads or sponsors of this show. It's just me bringing that content every week to you. But I do hope you'll connect with me on Facebook. We are friends, aren't we? Just go to facebook.com/Kruse author and like that page, and you'll see a lot more of what I'm up to daily. My last name is spelled Kruse, so it's facebook.com/Kruse author. So on to this week's episode. I'm still in the mode of answering all the questions I've been getting via email. So this one comes from a reader. He says, it was a long email. I'm going to shorten it up. He says, I work at home and I'm running into the issue of distractions. I know there are enough hours in the day to get everything done. I have mandatory breaks set by my company, requiring me to take a 30-minute break every 3 hours. And he mentions that he works a 12-and-a-half-hour quote-unquote work day. He says, I read on my breaks. I've started a fitness plan. I have great intentions, but I get distracted. It starts with a YouTube video or an article and ends up with 30 minutes of wasted time. How do I stay more focused? So he's asking about how, it sounds like he's not having any problems with the work part, but in these 30-minute breaks, when he could put the time to good use for himself, he just wastes the time, watching videos and messing around. So here's the thing. I work from home these days. I'm in my basement office right now. And I'm also lured by things in the home environment. And even if you don't work from home full time, I'm sure you've had work from home days. And all of a sudden, you don't have Bob down the hall interrupting you or other things like that. But you've got your refrigerator calling out your name. You've got the TV calling out your name. For me, it's the couch that calls out to me to take a nap on it in the middle of the afternoon, which sometimes I do. Now, what's going on is, regardless of the environment that you're in, we have two types of attention: reactive attention and focused attention. Reactive attention is, and this is biologically wired, we are responding to things in our environment. So this is to keep us alive, to keep us away from the saber-toothed tigers when we were living in caves. So reactive attention is when we get distracted by sounds, or changes in sites, or by email because we think it's going to be something funny and good, like a joke. These are things that come into our environment. And often we get a dopamine rush, that little love chemical that goes off in our brain. It's actually a hormone, and it's the same chemical that you get, from pulling the arm of a slot machine, gambling, or doing drugs, or even checking email or watching funny YouTube videos. It's sort of, randomly scanning the environment and clicking on that link to see if it's entertaining, see if it's funny, see if it's something good. And as we know, usually it's not. That just sort of raises the anticipation for the next pull of the arm on the slot machine. So here's what we can do to stay more focused, to actually use that free time more productively. The first thing is, I want to go back to, we need to learn to calendar everything and live from our calendars. Take everything off of the to-do list and put it on your calendar. So even if you have 30 minutes of break time, if you want to use that time to read a business book, literally read that business book on your calendar. If you want to use that 30 minutes of time to do a quick HIIT workout on your treadmill, put treadmill workout on your calendar. So you're going to get used to just sort of doing what the calendar tells you. Now, the second thing is our environment can be very powerful. So whenever we're facing issues of distraction, we want to control the environment. So it's not up to our motivation. It's not up to willpower. And when I interviewed all those straight A students for my book, the thing they talked about more than anything was the lure of social media, of YouTube, of Snapchat, of all these things. And they told me that they were all using they were using software that would block access to certain apps, certain websites, or to the entire internet. So these programs, you can Google a full suite of them, but they go by names like self-control, freedom, antisocial, stay focused. These are all programs that you can configure to block just your access to YouTube, or to shut down the internet for the next 30 minutes. Complete control, but it's saying you can have access to your work, to all of your work applications when you want, and you can block all these distracting websites. And there's equivalents for your Android phone or your iPhone, so you don't use your phone as a distraction device as well. This is very powerful. So once you figure out what you want to do with those 30-minute breaks, now you use one of these app blockers or site blockers to just take the willpower out of it. The other way to control your environment during these breaks is to literally get up and move away from your computer. So if it's YouTube or other sites that are sucking you in, as soon as you go into a break, stand up, walk away from the computer, get on that treadmill, go outside for that walk, grab your book, and go sit on the porch or the back deck, whatever it is you've got to do the productive thing, and get away from that computer. Again, it's sort of a way of controlling your environment. And the last thing does have to do with the inner game, with your psychology. Because ultimately, we do things that we're motivated to do, either from pleasure or pain. So when you say, I want to read this book, or I want to work out, or I want to go, hang out with my wife for 30 minutes during the break, if you're not doing it, it's because the why isn't strong enough. And so you need to get really clear on not the focus of, I'm going to go lift weights or get on the treadmill, because that's boring and it hurts. You need to think about, you're doing that because you want to be in great shape. You want to look good. You want to have high energy. Your reason is your reason. There's no judgment. If you want to get up and read that book, why? Is it because it's fun? Or is it because it's going to advance you in your career? So you think about, you're motivated to read a book because it's going to make you more money over the long haul. So just get clear on your motivation and then stay focused on that motivation. A lot of people will do affirmations in the morning. So you're thinking about those things you want to do and, the why behind them. You're reviewing it in the morning. Others I will see will do it like with every meal, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, almost like saying grace. But instead of saying grace, you're doing your affirmations on the things you want to do that day to make you a better person. So we covered a lot. The short version is, we are all distracted. We have this, the dopamine hits that we like to feed. We all have reactive attention we need to manage. And the best thing is make your plan, block your environment, your digital environment, and get up and move away from your computer if you have to, and then get really clear and remotivate on the things you would rather be doing with that time. So I hope that was helpful, and I want to remind everyone that if you're digging this extreme productivity stuff, I have a self-paced video e-learning course on my website so that you can get all of the 15 habits ultra-productive people do differently in a system with, there's video files where you can watch as I guide you through each lesson. You can listen to it in MP3 files while you commute, you're on the treadmill, or hey, print out the transcripts and read it if you are a reader. So go to kevinkruse.com, click on the e-learning tab to get all those details. Until next week, remember, Master your minutes to master your life.